Good evening, everyone. Good evening, my esteemed fellow panelists. Good evening, Chairman. As most of the my topic of discussion is green hydrogen, and most of the points have been covered by the eminent panelists, I will keep it very short. And seeing the next panelists have also arrived, we will start with the presentation. I would start briefly why hydrogen. So, first of all, I would like to give some facts like our dependence on fossil fuels. 86.6% of crude oil is being imported, more than 50% of natural gas is being imported, and 1/4 of coal is being imported. So, we have a huge import dependence, and it is expected to increase if we doesn't do any other alternative fuels, because our economy is growing. Presently, we have only 1/3 of the global average of energy consumption in India. If we compare it with the global big powers like USA, it is just 1/12. So our energy capacity, energy consumption will increase, and our import dependence will further increase. Further, if we depend on the sources like natural gas, crude oil, and coal, then we are also have to bear the brunt of energy security, because if any, like in the current scenario, if we see due to the Russia-Ukraine crisis and the roller coaster ride of energy prices, the prices have touched skyrocketed, and we have to cancel some of our shipments of natural gas also. So, and lastly, government is also promoting renewable capacity to increase by 500 gigawatt, and there is a risk of duck curve challenge. Duck curve challenge is that if we have supply and demand mismatch. No, please. You can forget it. So if there is a supply and demand mismatch between the renewables, then there could be a collapse of the grid. So that is why where it is again important to have energy storage, for where hydrogen could have a great role. So if I see the multifaceted role of hydrogen, we have other fuels like EVs, biofuels, but there are some sectors where hydrogen has to play a critical role or a complementing role, because none other fuel has reached that condition. So like in hard-to-abate sectors, to generate heat at that significance, so for green aluminum, green copper, green cement, green steel, we need hydrogen. And for production of ammonia, we also need hydrogen. And green ammonia can also be a game changer, as it can be used as a transport fuel in future. So, like I have told you about the energy storage, other how we can use hydrogen is by using in natural gas. So, by mixing it in natural gas, by blending in natural gas, we can increase initial demand of hydrogen. So, and hydrogen can be used to produce other fuels like methanol, synthetic kerosene, which can be further used in our transportation modes. So, for hydrogen for mobility, there are 3 major areas where we should target. The first one is heavy-duty vehicles. 20% of the total freight is through heavy-duty vehicle, and out of that contributes 60% of the emissions. So for the heavy-duty vehicles, we need hydrogen can be a best source, as other sources have not that developed. And for aviation, which is having the highest carbon emission intensity, we are mainly dependent on jet fuel, and biojet we are trying. So here also hydrogen can play a big role through synthetic kerosene. And in maritime, 7% of the world's oil is consumed by ships. And due to stringent IMO standards, we should focus on using ammonia as well as direct hydrogen in maritime. If we go about the global fuel cell electric vehicle overview, last year there are currently 51,600 FCEVs in the world. Leading by South Korea, they are having the lead with 19,000 vehicles, and we have 730 hydrogen refueling stations worldwide. So the infrastructure has to be there for the vehicles to shift. So it's like a demand and supply situation, and where we have to focus both on the demand as well as supply interventions. So if we see about the 2050 projections of hydrogen, India could have a demand of around 35 million ton, which would require electrolyzers of the range of 190 to 225 gigawatt. And if we see the scale, it is 750 times the current global capacity of electrolyzers in the world. And to reach that, to use that electrolyzer, we require an energy of electricity demand of about 1500 to 1800 terawatt hours, which is 1.1 to 1.3% of total electricity generation in India by 2050. Just going on the natural gas blending. So high deploy is a mission or is a test case in UK in which they are blending 20% natural gas in 20% hydrogen in natural gas grid, and UK is ready to blend 20% by 2023. So India could also look in this direction, and GAIL has also started 2% blending as a test case in Avantika Gas Limited in Madhya Pradesh. So I would now tell about the demand and supply interventions which could create hydrogen ecosystem in India. So to create demand, first of all, we should mandate mature industries like refining and fertilizers. And after that, industries manufacturing low-emission products like green steel shall be incentivized by government policies, government support, tax incentives. After that, like if we have to promote heavy trucking on hydrogen, we have to focus on hydrogen fuel stations on dedicated corridors like we are doing for LNG. On the supply side, such a scheme of Government of India which is producing biogas can be leveraged, because biogas can also be used to produce green hydrogen. So that can be leveraged to create initial supply along with natural gas blending. And we can have VGF scheme as well as PLI scheme for hydrogen. On the last slide, I would like to just give a roadmap for future transport fuel roadmap for the future. In the heavy trucking, the envisaged fuels in the future are hydrogen and LNG. In two-wheeler and four-wheelers, there would be ethanol blended petrol, electric as well as CNG. For public transport, electric and CNG would play a major role. And innovation, ATF, biojet fuel and synthetic kerosene will play a major role. And in natural gas, CBG and hydrogen has to be blended. That's all. Thank you.